It's a stunning location this, isn't it? The rolling hills forming the backdrop of this location. The crops in the fields just over there waiting to be harvested at any moment. And of course, the roads. My God, the roads are amazing. You see, the thing is, with the Isle of Wight, it's no stranger to hosting large-scale events. You've got the Isle of Wight Music Festival, you've got steam galas, you've got the scooter rally, you've got the mini day, which is why I brought this over. You've got even a festival for cheese here. But the Isle of Wight has never, despite the fact it's got such amazing roads, hosted a race of any sort here. Until now. Hello everybody, welcome to All's Wheels and welcome to the discussion about the Diamond Races 2021 on the Isle of Wight. You may be sitting at home looking at your computer or laptop or tablet or even phone sat on the toilet thinking, what are the Diamond Races? Well, you see, the Diamond Races are a time trial based race for motorbikes. So think of it a la Isle of Man TT, except it's held in the south on the Isle of Wight. That's essentially all it is. The Diamond Races are called as such due to the shape of the Isle of Wight, so seeing as the Isle of Wight is the shape of a, take through. The Isle of Wight is kind of a diamond shape if you look at it on a map, which is exactly how the Diamond Races got its name. And basically the course itself, we're currently stood right by where some of the course is going to be. We're just outside the village of Chale, but the course itself is going to be based in the southwest of the island, running down a 5-mile stretch of military road, running anti-clockwise, so it'll be going through the villages of Chale, Kingston, Shorewell and Brightstone and back onto Military Road and passing down here at about 210 odd miles an hour, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. The Diamond Races themselves will be a 4-day event taking place over from the Wednesday through to the Sunday. Now you may be thinking that's 5 days, but no. What's happening is Wednesday and Thursday, those are going to be practice days for the riders. Friday, it's going to be an off day, a rest day, whatever you want to call it. Saturday, that'll be actual race day, and Sunday, that'll be the final few little categories, plus as well, you on your motorcycle may actually get to ride the course, not at full chat, obviously in a controlled environment, but you might be able to ride your bike, which is pretty exciting actually. I mean, I've done a few parade laps in the Mini and a few parade laps in the Fiat now on Castle Combe and Brands Hatch, and although it's at a much reduced pace, it's a hell of a lot of fun. Behind the scenes, 12 months of planning has actually gone into making the Diamond Races happen. And there's a lot of influential names behind it, and names I can't fully remember off the top of my head. So I'll get my fact sheet and I'll read them out to you and just tell you who's sort of organised what with it. So with this, you have the likes of Gary Thompson, who's the Isle of Man TT clerk of the course, Neil Tuxworth, ex-racer and Honda Racing Team Manager, Steve Plater, ex-British champion and 2 times TT winner, 3 times British Touring Car Championship winner, Matt Neal, and ex-British Touring Car Championship driver, James Kay. These are the people who have actually helped put this event together. Impressive. But these are the people who've put it all together, and they've put in a lot of work to make it all happen. See, what they've planned is they're going to have 2 race villages and about 80 marshal points all dotted along the course around the island. That's not exactly a small feat. But the thing is, what's most impressive with the Diamond Races is it's all self-funded by these people, and obviously any sponsorship they've got coming in. The cost so far is estimated to be somewhere between 2 million and 5 million pounds. And to put it lightly, that is not a very small amount of money, so you've got to give these guys full credit for actually trying to make this happen. So people like that can ride their bikes on this course. The Diamond Races themselves will actually be run under the ACU, the Auto Cycle Union, but they'll also have backing from the Isle of Wight Council. And there are of course plans to have pop-up campsites put in place, and of course spectator points, assuming we can have spectators in 2021, obviously due to the world problem at the minute. At the time of recording this is of course September 2020, and restrictions are about to be put into place again, so yeah, who knows what things are going to be like in a year or so's time. I've got my fact sheet here again. The motorcycle types being used in this will be super sport, super bike and lightweights. But before any racing can actually happen on the Isle of Wight, they've got to treat 2,500 white lines, 177 manhole covers need to be coated for safety, 1,500 cat's eyes need to be removed, along with a small number of telegraph poles in direct line of the riders on the more challenging sections of the route. Because obviously you don't want a rider coming off and hitting a telegraph pole at about 170 to 200 miles an hour now, do we? There's still a couple of things up in the air about when the diamond race is actually going to happen. Currently, it's thought it's going to happen in October, which will be sometime around now when this video actually goes live. But there's another thing that hasn't been finalised yet, and that's where the start finish is going to be. It's going to be on Military Road somewhere, but it hasn't been decided exactly where, because it's a 5-mile stretch of road. So what we shall do now, I think, in the Mini, is take a quick spin along the route of the diamond races. And this little lay-by here that we're using, let's just treat this as the start and just go from there, and we'll come back here in a few minutes. So in this particular video, I know I said in my previous shot that I was going to be speaking from the editing suite, and of course here I am, but I'm joined today by my good friend Carlos Tilbury. Now Carlos, he's a motorcycle rider, so he might be able to sort of give a more motorcyclist perspective on things, shall we say, because of course I don't ride a motorcycle. He might be able to give a bit more of an insight into what a motorcycle rider can sort of expect to happen, and of course, you know, just see what happens with it really. So hello Carlos.
Hi Jacob, how are you doing? Yeah, for those people that don't ride a motorbike, there is a stark difference when you're driving compared to riding, because you're having to take a lot more in. So conditions of the road, you're looking for potholes, you're looking for gravel, you're looking for anything that might, you know, cause you a problem. Obviously, with only having two wheels touching the ground, you're less secure. So you're very much more aware of what's going on around you, and in general, you're looking at things like the car park we just gone past, and looking at the pub, and anything could upset you'll pull out.
That pub does very nice food, I can confirm. I have been in there several times.
Well, I have to join you. I mean, I'm teetotal, but I don't mind a pie. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So with this, obviously going down the route, you start on Military Road, as I said, really already. There is no defined starting point at the minute, so we just use that car park as our starting point. But we're in the village of Chale at this point, and I believe, Carlos, you got something to say about that corner we just went around there.
Yeah, that Chale corner on that. Two things that I noticed was that'll be a spectator point where people will be looking there, and also they'll be coming down that straight. They'll be hitting 200 miles an hour very easily down there on a super bike, or even a super stock bike, which is a standard road bike been modified to go onto race. And they'll be hanging onto those handlebars and pushed into that tank when they're braking to turn left to come up through here. But what I notice with this track is how tight it is. You know, it's not like the Isle of Man where the roads are wider. That wall there, you're going to have spectators along there. And when you're coming through here, you know, you're going to be looking at doing 130, 40 miles an hour. It's going to be scary.
Oh, that's crazy, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, and just saying here, like this is an off-camber uphill corner. You know, you're going to be trying to pull that bike down to the ground because centrifugal force will want to throw you through the hedge.
Yeah, and of course, as you're seeing here, I've already done this route in the Mini. The Mini, as we know, is not a very big car, hence the name Mini. It's also not a very wide car. And to put it this way, I mean, the average sort of size, width of a motorcycle is probably just under half the width of the Mini, I'd guess.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, I mean, I ride a big venture BMW. It's about half the size of a sort of Focus, and you're making a very valid point there that the Mini is quite small. You can see there going past that van in the Mini how tight it is. You know, they're going to be going. Yeah, I mean, these guys are going to be 100. You know, it's what I've noticed this first section of where I sort of got the track in two sections. This bit, look how tight you are to the wall. There'll be spectators there. You know, the riders will be hearing the people. They'll be smelling the barbecues. You know, it's going to be it's going to be insane to go and watch this. You know, and I haven't been to the Isle of Man yet, and I'm desperate to go to the Isle of Wight to see this. But yeah, I mean, I could talk about this all the time. You just look at all the things they got to avoid. There's a terminology in motorcycling called furniture on the road. Furniture will be a bus stop, a bench, all that will be removed. But you know, you still got a lot of things that you can hit really hard at high speed. you know.
Yeah, as Carlos has already mentioned, of course, you'll be travelling down here at what, 130, 140-ish, maybe even hitting 160 down this particular bit.
Yeah, I think so, because there's a left turn here. They're going to be going 150, 60 miles an hour, and then it's going to hammer those brakes, you know, not being rude, but, you know, all your body parts can be pushed into the tank as you're going down. You know, it's going to be very physical track. I mean, this turn here, you've got a left, right. You know, they'll probably come through here about 60 miles an hour, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. And we're all guessing speeds, but look at the walls that are, you know, you've got to be feeding through. And what people might not know is that they won't be setting off together. They'll be setting off probably at 10-second intervals. But, you know, it's narrow, man. It's so narrow along there, you know.
Yeah, the riders with shall we say a larger pair may end up catching the ones in front in some cases with this.
Yeah, it's sort of like a Cookstown track in Ireland, or you've got the Scarborough one up in the Midlands in a park. It's that. So I mean, this corner here, you're gonna have people up there on both sides of the road. Yeah, I mean, it's tight. It's, you know, it will be difficult to pass at speed 2 bikes down there. This is going to be. Go on, sorry.
No, it's okay. This is, of course, assuming that they are going to catch up to each other, but these guys are obviously all going to be of a similar mental state. You know, they're all going to be pushing as hard as they possibly can. They'll know what their machines can do.
Yeah.
The only things that may be a little bit uncertain, which obviously they're going to find out in practice on maybe the Wednesday and the Thursday, what many people may not realise is these riders, they're going to be finding out about every single bump, every single pothole, everything about the surface they're going to be riding on. I mean, this particular bit here that we just come off, this bit is going to be a sort of break for them, really, because they don't have to think as much on the straight. Obviously, they have to think about what's coming up, but it's not so much of a challenge, you know, at that point.
I think what's the lap time around Isle of Man TTs? About, was it 17 minutes or something?
Something around that line, yes. I'll put it up on screen.
They're averaging 135 miles an hour. That's an average.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, bearing in mind with this, I'm doing obviously road legal speeds of 30, 40, 50, 60-ish, obviously depending where you are on this whole circuit, but as you said, you can just see how narrow it is. It's mind-bogglingly narrow, really.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the Isle of Man TT is a dangerous circuit. To me, it's the most dangerous circuit in the world out, and I'd put it up there with like Pikes Peak. Macau is another dangerous track as well, because there's no runoff. With the Isle of Man, you do get a certain amount of runoff, but the speeds are high, but the roads are wide. But you know, I don't want to be a downer on this, but I think there will be there will be fatalities in this. I'm pretty sure there will be, because make a mistake and it's people are going to get injured.
Yeah, I mean, as you've already said, much of the street furniture is going to be removed. Telegraph poles will have protective things put around them. Street signs are going to be removed. But at the end of the day, there's only so much people can do.
That's right. And this bit's quite quick through here, I thought, and it's going to go down. I'm trying to remember. I only watched it 2 or 3 times. I'm trying to remember where I'm going. But yeah, I thought that's quite open then. And again, it comes down into a narrow track. I sort of feel like that maybe it's a slower track than the Isle of Man, and I think that's, you know,
it's certainly a smaller track.
Right. Yeah, definitely. You know, when you see the on board of the TT footage, you could get three abreast on certain parts of the track, you know, at 170, 80 miles an hour. But here, you're never going to go near those speeds. And I think that's why they've got the military road part of it, because they're going to really, you know, there'll be high speed there, but they're going to be coming through here 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. You know, it's going to be insanity. But yeah, we definitely have to go and watch.
Yeah, you know, so. I think we definitely will at some point with this. Yeah. But no, as I said in the video, sequences just before this little bit here, This particular event's going to take place in October of 2021. So, if you're interested in going to go and see it, that's when it's going to be.
Well, bit of an odd time of the year to have it. It's going to be.
Oh, yeah, the road surface is going to be a lot colder. But the thing is, they're trying to sort of organise it after the British Superbike Championship.
Right.
Or I believe it's British Superbikes. Anyway, I could be wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's been a lot of. It says a bit through here. I mean, this bit here is sort of quite narrow and it opens out.
Yes, I will say as well.
If you miss your braking point there, there's only one place you're going. It's into that wall,
Yes. I will say for the...
it's quite wide here.
It is, but for the audience at home, I will say the wide-angle sort of bird's-eye lens on the particular camera I used for this bit of footage here, which was a Drift HD for those wondering, little action camera, quite an old bit of kit now, comparatively. But yeah, that sort of makes it look deceptively wider than it actually is. Really, it's a lot narrower than it even seems on the camera.
When they're coming left here, they're going to be absolutely...
They do.
Yeah, it's going to be...
This bit's quite...
This all will be like first gear, second gear, third gear, back, and it's all that sort of,
Yeah.
But it's scary, scary narrow.
It is. And of course they will be putting up things like walls along the sides, to obviously protect people's properties, gardens, you name it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, passing these at 130, 140 plus, down these narrow lanes, you've got to have some big ones, seriously.
You do. I mean, I'm thinking someone like Michael Dunlop, I'll get the right one, because sadly one passed away a couple of years ago. This would be right up his street. It's very much like the Irish road racing. So that the Dunlop family is so famous in the road racing fraternity, and I think this is going to be right up for them. Oh, there we go. So yeah, if you're into your motorcycle race, you know about the Irish road racing scene. It's because they're allowed to race in Ulster and places like that, and you'll see the similarities there with these types of this type of track to Ireland. But man alive, I mean, it's a lot of. I think it's going to be quite a technical track to learn because there's a lot of corners.
I think if you think about it this way, put it into sectors, say sector 1's up to about Chale Green where that first sort of left-hander is, sector 2 up to maybe Shorewell, sector 3 Shorewell back to the start-finish line. I think
nice corner here. Yeah.
I think towards the end of sector 2 going to sector 3, that's going to be the most technical part of this circuit, really, because it's a lot of corners that are deceptively quick. It's going to be a lot to take in.
I mean, I've watched it 3 times and I'm starting to recognise it, but that's just sat at a desk watching it. That's not.
It's not the same type of feeling, is it?
No, I mean it's a fact that you can't really see the cambers very well on this. You can't see what the road surfaces are like. You've got to remember you're going to go past places like these farms and that where the road's going to be churned up. They'll probably sweep the road, but it will be like a moment that'll be like the TT where 1 minute the number 76 bus is riding along it, and then the next thing is somebody on a Panigale is going to be going along it at 176 miles an hour. It's
it's definitely different.
It's going to be like that, and I'm not here to say that I've ridden fast. I have ridden not my current motorcycle, my previous one at high speed. I'm not going to criminalise myself, but at speeds close to what they'll be doing, and I can assure you, it's scary. It really is.
It is. I mean, going down some of these roads, I mean, I wasn't necessarily travelling too quickly in this, and obviously, when you put into this way, I've got all these little things to go against, such as traffic and people, of the other public road users, basically. These riders are obviously not going to have that, but even with, minimal amounts of these things, I mean, you've seen in this, the cyclist cars coming the other way,
Yeah,
People out walking, taking dogs for a walk, that kind of thing, you know. Even without
yeah.
those, it's still a lot to take in.
Well, even if you think that they might, along some of these stretches of this track, they might be riding at motorway speeds, legal motorway speeds,
Yes.
70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour. But just picture wherever you live. I live in Overton in Hampshire. I always think when you think of like the TT and this, go and stand in the village by the bus stop and watch someone ride past at 80 miles an hour and think of that going through a street down, it's insane.
Yes, no, you can definitely picture it.
It's
But you did bring up an interesting point earlier on, actually. With this particular bit of footage I've got in the car, obviously with a car you're not going to see the amount of camber, which again you said. But of course on a motorcycle you're a lot more physical in terms of how you ride it, because of course you've got to lean into corners and things, you know.
Yeah, I mean, when I passed, I'm recently new. I passed 8 years ago, 8 years ago, and I remember when I got my first big bike. I got a 1200cc Suzuki Bandit, and it's a monster of a moron of a bike. It's really like torquey, but the one thing you forget is when you go around the corner, and I just I got the camber wrong, and I nearly went through a hedge. See, now here, this straight bit, this is mad. They're going to be absolutely ripping it open along here, and then you're immediately going into a right-hand corner here, aren't we?
Yeah, so that corner there that we just came out of, that was the last of the really tight and twisty section of this.
Yeah.
From here on out, from here on out, you are basically just absolutely penning it all the way to the start finish.
Absolutely, winding it off the stop, and that's it. And I think, for me, I think there's one area at the TT, one or two areas they hit over 200. I think it's down into where the pub is on the corner. I know they get over 200 miles an hour there. And we can remember is there's going to be, if COVID lets it, there's going to be people spectating right next to the road here. And these guys are now, they're going to be tucked down. It is the famous head down, arse up. And you're going to have your head underneath the screen. They ride slightly differently when if you look at a superbike, they have a different style fairing where they get their head underneath the fairing. They're going to be right down, and this bit particularly, they're going to be hitting well over 200 miles an hour. And I'm not to bore people who don't know about motorcycles, because a lot of the motorcycles are now off the shelf, the big end ones. They're standard, they are 215 horsepower in something that weighs 200 kilos. That's off the shelf. Yeah, so they are going to be, a superbike might push 220. A handmade superbike weighs 160 kilos. It has about 240 horsepower. It's mad. No, I looked at this and went, they are seriously insane.
Yeah, bear in mind going at this point on here, I'm doing about 60, and it does look already quite quick.
Yeah.
But these guys are going to be pushing 200, 210, maybe even a bit more.
Yeah, I think so.
The category of bike they're on.
Yeah, absolutely. Even the 600s will get up to, if they run a 600 class, which they would normally do, they're still going to be looking at 170 maximum. A slightly less powered bike, they call it, but
yes.
The big 1000 cc's,
Yes.
They're going to be ripping down here. Yes. I mean, if this road was officially closed and I had a powerful bike, I would like to have a go at hitting 200 miles an hour. So down here.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure they'd allow the public to do that.
No. I mean, in a road closed environment. Yeah, so I think it would be quite easy. I know that sounds crazy. It would be quite easy to do that down here. But look at it. I mean, it's just so long. It's
so long.
But this could break a bike, because it's like you're stressing the engine. They'll be running at 16,000 revolutions a minute, perhaps. I don't know full technical spec of a superbike. And it's a bit like Formula One. You've got to track the long straights. Yeah. The cars, the engines are so finely balanced. I mean, they will drop down a gear. They might just roll off the throttle here, maybe come down a gear and go through there, maybe 160, 170. Because you got the tyre technology, and then back on it. Look how long this straight is now.
Yeah. I will say with that.
Absolutely.
I will say with that corner just back there. Sorry. For anyone watching this, yes, there is a large dip on either side of the road, so it is a very good idea
Oh,
to
is
back
there?
off there. Yes, there is a huge dip
Yeah,
either side. And
yeah.
in
I
fact,
mean,
if you look at it, actually, there's quite a lot of, well, a big dip either side of this bit of road as well. So
right.
I can imagine if you get it wrong here, you've not only fall off your bike, but you've also got
Yeah.
a bit of a drop either side before you hit the ground as
Yeah.
well. So
I think if you
yeah,
if you want to understand what a horrific racing motorcycle accident looks like, is to Google Connor Cummings accident. I think 2014 in the Isle of Man TT. He survived that accident, and Jacob, I'll get you to post it maybe on this video. It is truly frightening what happened to him, and
I'll
he was running at around a 160, and he went round a corner, and it just went straight on, basically.
yeah, I'll leave a link to it down below
Yeah,
in this
I
video.
think it'd be a good one to watch because it'll give an understanding of when things go wrong, because you have to understand when things go wrong at these speeds. It's the consequences are unmentionable. For me, I look at it two sections. I think you're right; it's three sections, but for me, it is in my head. It would be two sections. It would be the long straight and the rest of it. It is a lot of bends, a lot of corners, a lot of braking, a lot of gear changes. It's going to be, it's just going to be an entertaining. There will be a lot of passing. If you get two or three riders gaggled up together, which does happen, there will be a lot of passing, repassing. So I think it will be entertaining, but I am seriously worried about how tight it is there. There's a lot of walls to scrape off and hit. It will be, if you're into photography like I am, you're going to have a field day photographing this. You'll get some amazing photographs of
Oh, yeah.
um, of what will happen. I know there's a lot of people who don't want it down there. I think it's going to be disturbing the peace of the Isle of Wight, but
Yes, and
um,
an event like
money
this,
talks.
an event like this is always going to attract people that are going to be
Yeah,
against it. Let's put
absolutely.
it that way, regardless of
But
whether you think
I
it does
would,
good or bad.
yeah, I mean, I would go and watch it because just purely to see, knowing people that have been to the Isle of Man and just say you've got to go to the Isle of Man, and these things are on our doorstep, Jacob. So we should go, and see it. But yeah, I think it's interesting track, very technical. You're going to have the experienced guys are going to shine through. So someone like, I don't know if John McGuinness is going to race next year. I know he's same age as me, and he's my motorcycle. I don't have heroes in any shape or form in my life, but I admire John McGuinness so much, like everybody else in the motorcycle world. I hope he does race there. That there'll be other guys there racing. Dean Harrison is pretty good. You'll probably see him there, and those experienced bunch of guys will race. It would be great to see Guy Martin come out of retirement and race. I know he started racing motorcycles again, and I know he's trying to achieve a 300-mile-an-hour barrier on a bike at the moment.
Yes, yes. No, I rather like Guy Martin. He does a lot of good things on Channel 4.
He does. But I know I saw him in an interview recently. It might have been on Channel 4 program where he says he's lost the desire to do it because he doesn't believe he has the capabilities and the skill to do it anymore. And that's good because it means he's not going to
He
do
knows his
himself any
limit.
injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the right way forward. So yeah, it's going to be. I don't know whether they're going to put these pit straights somewhere up in the back end of the track, aren't they? It's not going to be on the main straight.
No, I believe it's going to be off on one of the sort of farmlands, either somewhere along Military
Yeah,
Road. I mean,
right.
they got two festival villages essentially. They haven't announced where these are going to be either. It's way too early
Right.
to tell. Bearing in mind we're recording this in October of 2020.
Yeah,
The event is still a year away roughly. Not all details have come out
yeah.
yet. So
That's right, and I think it will be a spectacle. I think it's going to be.
Yes, definitely.
I hope they run it in the same format with of the TT and the Isle of Man, where the they have the sidecars as well, which is something I'd love to go and watch, the motorcycle sidecars. Um, that would be entertaining to watch around there, because it would just be a parade for a while until because they wouldn't be able to pass each other. Um, so yeah, I hope they run the formats of the 600, the Super Sport, the Super Bike. Is it Super Stock? Is it? I think the full class.
So, yeah.
So yeah, and you all get privateers entering. Someone fat oaf like me going, yeah, I think I could have a go.
Why, why are you going to have a go?
No, I'm not going to go, man.
Take the bike.
I don't have, I proud myself at being able to ride and drive quite fast, but I way off the skill base of what those guys do. It's you don't have that. They're just in a different league. They don't think about the dips or the drops on the side of the road that could kill you. They don't care. They just keep going.
No, and that's the point, isn't it? I mean, with so many bumps, bear in mind these are all public roads. None of them are custom made for the event. They're all fully public roads.
That's right.
So
no runoff.
A new bump could appear in it tomorrow that wasn't there today. Just little things like that.
Yeah, I was out today on my bike, and I was on a road that I'm familiar with, but I forgot that there was a lump in it, and we were going right across the road, and I was doing some speed, and it's just like being kicked in the crotch, it just literally, it's not used to be like you have that pain, it's just you're not expecting it.
Hit in the crotch.
Yeah, kicked in the crotch, kicked in the balls, all right,
yeah.
But you know what I mean, and they're going to be doing twice the speeds that I'm doing, and they've got to memorise all those little places. Yeah, exactly. You're right, 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you saw with that bit of footage. I mean, I was using a sat nav to find my way around. I mean, I don't live on the Isle of Wight. I haven't been there that often. I don't know the full route, so that's why I was using the sat nav to find my way around it. But these guys who are going to be riding it competitively, they are going to have to remember every single little corner, every single little bump, every single little reason something could go wrong, for every reason why they can gain an extra little bit of time.
They will have people come down in cars and drive the route themselves and take notes. They will have people come down on bikes and ride the route legally, illegal speeds, and they will then come down themselves. They won't announce that. They probably might have already been here already.
Oh, more than likely. As soon as they found out, where is it? Oh, we can drive it roughly. Yeah.
Exactly. So you will have all of that going on, and you'll have their sighters come down and have a look at it. But yeah, interesting, dangerous. Dangerous is the word I'm going to use.
Yeah, as we've already pointed out, spectators, they're going to have an absolutely fantastic time there.
Amazing.
Especially with some of those places. I mean, some of those houses along there will probably end up, being like Airbnb kind of things. Why not? You may as well bring a couple of people in to watch the event.
Well, this is it. It's going to be like Monaco, that some people will not want that to happen on their doorstep, and they will leave and they will go off away for a long weekend. But like with Monaco, those people leave and then rent out their places, their homes, for exorbitant amounts of money. It's going to be a cash cow, 100%.
So with this, I do have some facts and figures of it. So according to On the Wights, this comes from their online website. Residents on the course have been informed by letter of plans with more details to be given to these residents over the coming months of how the organisers plan to work with them. Now, of course, with this, you've obviously got 2 sides to the argument. You've either got the side that's really enthusiastic about this happening, it'll be great for the island, it'll attract loads of people who are going to obviously use all the facilities, come and see all the touristy spots, things like that. And they're the ones that are likely to be grabbing obviously a deck chair and sitting in their gardens watching a few hundred bikes blast around at 150 or so miles an hour, And then you've also got the other side of the argument where you're going to have people who absolutely hate the idea of having bikes flying past their homes and, see it as a massive inconvenience to their lives for 4 or 5 days or so.
Well,
You know,
it's interesting. I'm pretty sure you're aware of Loomies and the A272
I
down
am
at
indeed.
Petersfield as being a yeah. You're always going to get the people. I don't know, it's slightly different probably, but yeah, there's a lot of people trying to protest against Loomies being open. They're trying to get it closed and all sorts. So you do have those people out there who just want the idyllic lifestyle, and but you may be talking about 10 days of disorganisation in the Isle of Wight because you're for setting up and
Yeah, of
breaking
course.
things down at the end of it. But the amount of money it's going to the revenue that's going to come in is going to be millions and millions of pounds. You know,
Yeah,
ferry prices will go up.
yeah, definitely. But bearing in mind, this particular event is fully self-funded by the people organising it. Who, again, I've already said earlier in the video,
Yeah.
they are working well into the millions for this, and with what
Mm.
it's going to be, it should pay them back quite handsomely.
Well, indeed. I mean, you got to look at what do they need? They're going to need helicopters because you won't be able to have any racing without medical helicopters.
Of
And there's
course.
not just one; there'll be a handful around the track. You know,
You got
like
all
I
the
say,
marshals.
all the marshals. They come as volunteers, but you still want to give them something.
Mm.
Like you say, you've got to build a pit yet and yet to be built, so the farmer will make some money there.
All the
You
villages
know,
for it, and campsites and
exactly.
things like that. Spectator
Campsites. So
points.
yeah, so I'm pretty sure as soon as the people, the distractors of this, start seeing how much money they can make, they'll take it on board. And money
Yeah.
talks.
Yes.
You know.
I do have another example here. A poll run by the island Echo. Uh, this consisted of about 8,100 people, and out of
Yeah,
those
that's a good
8,100,
poll. Yeah, that's a good amount of people. That is 8,000.
out of those 8,100 people, they obviously questioned about, what were their thoughts on this particular event.
Yeah.
92% of those said yes to the diamond races happening. The
Okay.
particular article that I read didn't state how many said no, I absolutely don't want it, and others who are, I'm not sure, maybe it can happen, I don't know, I don't really care. But
Yeah.
92% said yes, we want this to go ahead.
I think in the times we are at the moment with COVID and next year, let's not mention the B word, a bit all political Brexit, but we don't know where we're going to be with COVID next year. If
No.
this goes ahead, everywhere is going to be looking to get money because they're going to be, councils and people will have debts to pay and earn money. So it's a no-brainer. I wouldn't imagine. You see how many people go to the Isle of Man. Is it going to be as big as the Isle of Man? Probably not. I don't think so.
Well,
But I think that people will want to come to have a look. They're coming to check it out, and if it's successful, because you're going to need 5-10 years to make it a really, really, really good.
yeah.
And to make it all run.
That's the point, isn't it? Though the Isle of Man, they've got obviously years of heritage behind it.
Over 100 years, yeah.
Exactly. So they can draw in the audience with basically anything. They can make a handbag, they can make cups, they can make any
Right, yeah.
merchandising for it, Whereas the
Yeah.
Isle of Wight, it doesn't have that. But who knows, in maybe 10, 20, 30 years' time, if it is successful, they might well be able to build on that. But of course, down here in the south, we don't quite have an event quite like the Isle of Man TT.
No.
Well, mainland
I think
England, really.
we have nothing, and we have Carfest. And I live in the village where Carfest is, and I've never been to it because it doesn't interest me. And I'm a petrol head. I'll go at the end of the road and watch the Lambos go by and the bikes. But yeah, I think it's going to be a success. I think it will. I think it will prove that because this is only because the government changed the ruling of racing on roads. You can do it anywhere in the UK now, whereas you couldn't do it before.
No.
Because Isle of Man is obviously its own.
It's his own place, isn't it?
It's his own place, yeah. So,
no.
Will it spur more? I don't think so. I don't think people would want to risk.
No.
Maybe I hate saying it, but what could happen if someone has an accident there? You know,
Bearing
I
in
don't
mind,
think people do that.
bearing in mind with an event like this, years of planning has actually gone into it already. This isn't just something
It's
they've
true.
gone, that's a
Oh, let's
good
do that.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
they haven't done that. They've actually gone away and thought about it and gone, right, where's the best route? I mean, from research, there was
yeah.
three like sort of proposed areas on the Isle of Wight they could have done this.
Oh, right. I don't
And
know that. Didn't know
this
that.
particular one, you know, Military Road, Chale, Kingston, Brightstone,
Yeah.
Shorewell, you know, uh, that was the area that was chosen because they thought out of the three, it was the most likely to be the safest, give the spectators the best sort of show, as it were, you know,
Yeah.
and give the riders the best test, you know. So
Well, that's going to be a test.
definitely, definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely going to be a test for some people. But yeah, let's hope it all goes, safely, and well, let's hope it gets off the ground, and hopefully we'll be out somewhere out of COVID this time next year.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Um, Fingers crossed. Yeah, because I need to go to Japan. I'm not being funny, but so, but yeah, no, that's been really entertaining. I thought it was really, I think it was a really good little video you made there,
Oh,
actually.
thank you.
And I think doing it, not being funny, but doing it at a slow speed was probably a better way of doing it, because you can,
Well,
you
it's
know,
helped us to sort of point out things a bit easier than
yeah,
say speeding through a
absolutely,
thousand miles an hour. You know, not that
yeah,
that will be happening
yeah,
anymore, like 200, but
yeah. No, it's going to be, it's definitely going to be an interesting few days down there watching that.
yes. Okay, so to sum up the event, 3 words. How would you? Well, what's your thoughts?
Um, Fast, tight, dangerous.
That sounds like a good conclusion to me.
Yeah,
Crazy,
yeah,
ballsy,
yes,
stunning.
yes. I would agree with that. I think there's going to be some pretty spectacular scenes
I think so.
through there. You know, those narrow roads are going to make some really entertaining racing.
Yes. No, definitely. It's going to be a crazy, crazy weekend. Well, full
Yeah,
week basically of this.
yeah, absolutely. You're going to have practice as well. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, speaking of that, actually, final thing before we wrap up this video. On the
yes,
Sunday, I have said this earlier in the video, but I'm not sure Carlos has seen that particular bit as of this moment. But on the Sunday of that event, you can actually, as far as things go at the moment, you can actually ride your bike on the closed circuit route.
it's classified as Mad Sunday, which they
Yes.
do at the Isle of Man.
Yes.
And again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's where the main fatalities come along, because you get people
You get people
all
who
piling
think
out onto the track.
they think they're
And then
amazing, but they're not.
they think, yes, you can see the points where they run out of talent, as we
Yes.
say.
Yes, that
So,
several bikes may be written off, and unfortunately worse.
yeah. So, in case if you go there on the Sunday, stay in the pub, stay in the house, and
Yeah.
stay away from going out on the road,
And
because, as a biker, I see crazy people every time I go out, and yeah, there's some people who really don't want to live. I like living, so
of course, if you do go over there during, obviously, the time when the Isle of Wight isn't hosting a Diamond Races event, and you are
yeah,
tempted, of course, to go and ride or drive the course, don't be crazy about it. Just just
no.
follow the
The
speed
problem, the thing,
limits. Don't go mad, because you will end up in a field somewhere, possibly
yeah,
dead, and it's not fun.
and you got to remember is now that route has been shown, that the police will be out there in force trying people not to race along it and injure themselves. I mean, people think that police are just being killjoys, but they're actually there to stop you from hurting yourself. That's it,
Yes,
really.
yes, absolutely. Anyway, I think we shall wrap up this little discussion. I say little; it's been quite a long one.
No, I've enjoyed it. It's been really good.
Nah, it's been good fun, hasn't it? No,
Yeah.
so we'll probably wrap up this discussion on diamond races here. So if you want to check out Carlos and the things that he gets up to, he's got a link to his channel down in the description below. You can see some of the things he's already done.
There'll also be links to the Diamond Races official YouTube channel, which of course they got a lot more sort of details about people behind it, reasons why they've chosen certain things, what they're going to use for protection, you know, on the telegraph poles and things like that. They'll tell you all these things. Don't read too much into that.
No, it's that whole wrapping telegraph poles gives you an idea of how dangerous it is.
Yes, yes. And yeah, and of course I'll also have a link to the unfortunate crash that Carlos mentioned earlier as well.
Yes.
So just to give you all a slight reminder that bike racing is obviously not 100% safe, and there are no guarantees of safety with it, no matter what technology they got in race suits, bikes, you name it. Anyway, I think we should call the video here. Do you, Carlos?
I think so. It's been great. Thanks for that, Jacob. Really enjoyed it.
Very welcome. Anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to consider leaving a like, comment down below. Feel free to let us know what sort of lap times you think the riders are going to achieve around here. I did the lap in 20 minutes in the Mini at road legal speeds, roughly, give or take a few seconds.
Ooh.
I know. I reckon 6 minutes. 6 minutes 10.
No, I'm going to go around at 8 minutes.
8 minutes, all right. I might be being a bit too optimistic. Who knows?
I think they're going to pick up a lot of speed on the military road, but I think they'll lose it in those tight bits. But yeah, I reckon about 8 minutes, which is a stupid amount of time.
It is. But yeah, there we go. I might be being too optimistic. Anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed this kind of content, please remember to subscribe. And of course, click the bell notification. It'll let you know every time a new video comes on out. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. And I shall see you in a future video. And I'm sure Carlos, over there, I'm sure he will as well. So, farewell.
Good night now.